If everyone would please rise. Please rise for the presentation of the colors by the Eau Gallie High School Air Force Commodores, led by Major Jeffrey Ramsey, U.S. Air Force, retired.
Color guard, halt, left face, present the colors.
Okay, if everyone could please join me in a moment of silence. Okay, we're going to finish up with the national anthem sung by Chaplain Joe Wetzel.
Join me now. If you would like to sing along, that's fine. Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars for the perilous fight of the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave? Amen.
Please remain standing for the exit of the colors.
Order, colors. Right face, forward, arch. Color guard, halt. Round, colors. Fall out.
Outstanding job, outstanding job. Okay, if I could get you to remain standing just for one more minute, Mr. Chaplain Joe Wetzel is also going to lead us in an invocation.
Shall we pray? God, be merciful unto us and bless us. Cause thy face to shine upon us, that we may be known upon the earth, and thy saving strength among the people. Let the people be glad and sing for joy, for thou shalt judge them righteously and govern the nations upon earth. Especially do we pray that we may have the guidance to the end, and that we may each of us firmly uphold the great principles of this organization. Amen. Amen.
Okay, you remain seated. I'm sorry, forgive me. Please be seated. Okay, so good evening, ladies and gentlemen, fellow veterans, first responders, honored guests, and members of our cherished community. On behalf of the Disabled American Veterans JLGO Chapter 32, welcome to our second annual 9/11 Remembrance event here at the Oak Alley Civic Center. Tonight, we gather in solemn unity to honor our heroes, to remember the lives lost, and to reaffirm our resolve to never forget the events on September the 11th, 2001. Our gratitude extends to all who serve and continue to serve in the military, law enforcement, fire departments, medical professionals, and each of you who supports and uplifts our nation's defenders. We remember the sacrifices made and the bravery displayed in the face of unimaginable losses. Standing together as a family, strengthened by resilience and hope, this evening brings a true testament to community spirit and fellowship. Our sponsors have generously provided tonight's meals, and many local heroes have answered the call to join us, share their stories, and inspire us. Thank you for the honor guard and the guest speakers, Melbourne City officials, and everyone who worked to make this remembrance event possible. Let us honor the legacy of those we remember by nurturing unity, compassion, and service. It is our duty as Americans, and especially as veterans and first responders, to carry that forward torch to remembrance and support, ensuring their stories and sacrifices are never forgotten. So I'm going to do a couple special guest introductions. Master Chief John Cornish. Could you stand, please? Master Chief John Cornish. Master Chief John Cornish is the DAV State Commander, a retired U.S. Navy Master Chief Petty Officer while serving spanning 3 major wars. His distinguished 30-year military career included key security and leadership roles on vessels such as the USS Enterprise and the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower. And he is in recipient of numerous awards, including the Meritorious Service Medal. Following his Navy retirement, Commander Cornish continued serving veterans as a dedicated advocate and leader in Florida's DAV Department of Florida office. Thank you, Mr. Cornish. DAV State Senior Vice Commander John Dunn. Can you please rise? John Dunn is not only a friend, he is a distinguished U.S. Navy veteran with over 20 years of service and nearly 5,000 flight hours in critical missions worldwide. Following his decorated military career and receipt of multiple commendations, John has dedicated himself to championing veterans' rights and well-being through actively leadership and service with the Department of Florida. Thank you, John. DAV State Junior Vice Commander Paul McLemore. Mr. McLemore answered his call to service after the events of 9/11 by joining the U.S. Navy as an avionics technician on H-60B Seahawks, later becoming a training petty officer. Injured during his service, he faced a challenging medical retirement, but found crucial support from the Disabled American Veterans DAV, who helped him secure his VA benefits. Inspired by his experience, Paul joined the DAV in 2018, and he has held several leadership positions. His mission remains clear: to ensure every veteran receives the care and assistance they deserve. Thank you, Paul. Okay, so honoring our legacy on 9/11. Rooted in the determination of World War I veterans by the Disabled American Veterans DAV, was founded in 1920 in Cincinnati, Ohio, by heroes such as Judge Robert Marks, with a vision that all disabled wartime veterans' needs would be heard and respected. In 1932, Congress federally chartered DAV, officially entrusting it with the voice of America's disabled veterans, a legacy defined by honor, sacrifice, and service. Continuing that tradition, DAV Chapter 32 was chartered on April 15, 1947, and for more than 75 years has stood as Brevard County's oldest active DAV chapter, steadfastly serving veterans and their families with passion, service, and unwavering support. In times of the nation's national tragedy, such as the 9/11/2001, DAV mobilized relief efforts and extended compassionate care to veterans and their loved ones affected by those attacks, embodying the organization's spirit of service and resilience. As we gather to remember 9/11, we not only honor those sacrifices made on that day, but we also endure commitment of DAV and Chapter 32 to uphold American values, support our veterans and their families, and champion hope in the face of adversity. The DAV's voice is only as strong as our members. Every new member, Congress listens and helps protect veterans' benefits. Want to shape laws that matter? Join the DAV. Sign up for the Commanders Action Network at our DAV table back in the back corner by the exit, to the left of the exit. Your voice, your impact instantly. Every single member counts. Every action matters. Make a difference right now. Ask how to become a DAV volunteer. We crucially need volunteers, but we crucially need members. In 2024, DAV helped over 1.1 million veterans secure benefits, gave 235,000 free rides to medical care, hosted 110 job events resulting in 13,000 job offers, provided $1.5 million in disaster relief, supported more than 1,400 caregivers, and awarded 10 scholarships totaling $110,000 to youth volunteers. At this time, I would actually ask DAV past National Commander Joseph Johnston and Miss Leslie Ash to approach the podium. All right, the floor is yours, sir. Sorry, you need the mic, right?
You didn't want me to say anything. This is in honor of First Sergeant Retired Leslie Ash. On behalf of the Disabled American Veterans, J.O. Go Lightly, Chapter 32, and the entire veterans community, we are deeply honored to extend this letter of appreciation and recognition of your extraordinary service to our country and to veterans everywhere, especially as we gather for our 9/11 Remembrance event this evening. You were born in Portland, Oregon. You enlisted in the United States Army, in 2001 as a medical laboratory technician. Over a distinguished 20-year career, you rose to the rank of First Sergeant. Your assignments reflect exceptional leadership and expertise, serving as a biological research specialist in the Malarial Research Division at Walter Reed Army Institute of Research in Silver Spring, Maryland, where you were also NCOIC of the Department of Rickenstal and Enteric Infections. As NCOIC of Hematology at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center, Landstuhl, Germany. A chemistry instructor, writer, and adjunct professor for George Washington University at Joint Base San Antonio, Texas. Operations NCOIC at Landstuhl Regional Medical Center. First Sergeant for the Brian D. Allgood Army Community Hospital in Yongsan, Korea. In 2013, you volunteered for the pioneering cultural sport team and the U.S. Operations Command, and deployed with the 75th Ranger Regiment. Rangers lead the way, participating in direct action missions and gathering critical intelligence. You again deployed as a cultural support team member in 2016, where you not only supported direct action operations, but also advised the female tactical platoon recruiting and training Afghan National Army women to serve alongside Qatar's Afghan Special Operations Forces. Your dedication, leadership, and heroism have been recognized with the Bronze Star Medal, the Joint Service Commendation Medal, the Combat Action Badge, the Expert Field Medical Badge, the Parachute Badge, Airborne All the Way, Air Assault Badge, the Gold German Army Sports Badge, and the Silver German Schutzenstorner Weapons Badge. After retiring in 2021, along with your husband Sean, you continued by serving in Melbourne, Florida, raising your children Devlin and Colin. Your devotion is recognized at JL Go Lightly Chapter 32, where you serve as a certified chapter service officer, providing expert guidance to veterans seeking VA benefits, and ensuring their claims are handled with professionalism and care. You have led and supported chapter fundraisers, outreach initiatives, and facility projects, always working to enhance our veterans community as a valued member of our executive committee. Your insights and commitment strengthen our chapter's mission. Your service also extends as Adjutant and Veteran Service Officer for VFW Post 8191, and as the loving caregiver to your father, Ernest Winterton, a retired Navy corpsman and disabled veteran.
It's right there.
First Sergeant Ash, your legacy of service, sacrifice, and compassion makes an enduring impact on our community, and we are all profoundly grateful for your leadership and example. And with the deepest respect and admiration, I salute you, ma'am.
All right, I'm going to keep Joe up here just for a few seconds, and I'm going to back him up. I wanted to talk a little bit about all these magnificent art prints that you see surrounding the back area. All these were donated by Joe. 50% of all the proceeds go to our chapter, and I'll let you talk a little bit about how you come about these prints and a little bit about it.
Okay, the prints were in storage down here in Waterhaven because the house I live in, I don't have room for them anymore. And I thought, well, what am I going to do to them? And so the idea is that we'll sell them at this event, and the chapter can get the money for them, and the chapter gets a donation. So the pricing on these pictures is literally half price of the frame value. So that if you want to make a bid on one, and I suggest that you do so, that understand that you're getting it for at least half price. There are a couple of original Collier's prints back there for Frederick Remington, and my gosh, those date back to the late 1800s. And then there's prints back there that every one of them signifies something in the history of our country. So there is, for example, the Heroes of Red River, and it shows 13 soldiers receiving the Medal of Honor. 2 of them are receiving it for the second time. And the other thing that's unique about that print is that all 13 of those soldiers are Freemasons. There's another print back there. It's called Washington at Carlisle. And it is the first test of the American Constitution that happened in Carlisle, Pennsylvania when the Whiskey Rebellion took place. And so Washington and 3 governors went by horseback to Pennsylvania and when they to quell the rebellion. And on the way, the word passed that Washington was coming. So on both sides of the road leading into Carlisle, from about a mile out, were Revolutionary War soldiers that revered the president. and they lined both sides of the road and saluted him as he went by. So it went from quelling a rebellion to worshiping George Washington. And so when he got to Carlisle, and this is another interesting part of history, is that when he got to Carlisle, he took the people that had run the revenuers out of town, and he put them in jail for one night, and he fined them $1 apiece and then turned them loose. So the whole event became just as something for a big party that celebrated George Washington. So there's a story behind all this, Prince Factor. I'm hoping that somebody will bid on all of them, because I don't want to take them back to storage. Thank you.
Thank you, DAV, past National Commander Joseph Johnston. All right, so I want to introduce another special guest. If you would, Ms. Mayfield, would you stand, please? Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to welcome our distinguished special guest, State Senator Debbie Mayfield. Senator Mayfield brings nearly 2 decades of dedicated public service to Florida. She began her career with a 30-year tenure in the banking industry as an executive and an owner of the Mayfield Mortgage Group. First elected to the Florida House of Representatives in 2008, she served until 2016 before joining the Florida Senate, where she represented District 19. She has held key leadership positions, including Senate Majority Leader from 2020 to 2022, and Chair of the Senate Rules Committee from 2022 to 2024. In 2024, Senator Mayfield returned to the Florida House District in District 32 in 2025. She reclaimed her Senate District 19 seat following a special election. Her commitment to public service is evident in her tireless efforts to support veterans, restorations of the Indian River Lagoon, and support for seniors, families, law enforcement, and the business communities. Senator Mayfield's dedication extends beyond legislation. She actively spotlights our DAV Chapter 32 veteran volunteers in her constituent of the week, in the Mayfield Minute newsletter, and has provided invaluable support to our chapter, notably assisting with an honor flight for our Sergeant of Arms and a retired Navy Corpsman for the disabled veteran. She's not only a leader, a respected leader, but a true friend and a champion for veterans and first responders. I'd like to share a real quick little personal story. When I first took over as commander, I inherited a building that was in quite deplore. And I met with the city, and I met with a lot of great folks to get on board and helping us, but I never thought I'd get a meeting with Ms. Mayfield, but sure enough, she offered to meet with me. Now, of course, she couldn't give me the $1 million that I was asking for at the meeting, but what she did leave me with was some inspiration and some great ideas coming from her business background, coming from her legislative roles, a lot of things that are happening in our Chapter 32 right now. Was inspired by some of her visions and some of her sharing her knowledge and telling me to do some of the things I needed to do, and I appreciate that advice from the bottom of my heart. Even meeting me that day, I didn't even think we would get a meeting, so thank you. Give it up for Senator Mayfield. The next gentleman I want to bring up, introduction for the Melbourne Fire Department Battalion, Chief Nicola Papia. I probably said that wrong, I apologize. Chief, say that again. Papia? Pahipa. I truly apologize. Has proudly served with the Department of Citizens of Melbourne for 19 years. He currently oversees Melbourne's North End, which includes 4 stations, and serves as a director of the Melbourne Fire Department Honor Guard and Peer Support Team. Through these roles, he's provided leadership during ceremony occasions and ensures support and resilience for our members during challenging times. Chief plays a vital role in ensuring our readiness and service to the public is ready. Welcome, sir.
All right, good evening, everyone. make some introductions here. We got Lieutenant Maxwell. All these guys are from Station 71 right over here on O'Galley, the firehouse right over there. So we got Lieutenant Maxwell. We have his driver, Mike Panucci, firefighter Jason Petronella, and firefighter Underwood. So as he said, I'm Battalion Chief Nico Pippa, and I'm with the Melbourne Fire Department. I've been there about 19 years. Thank you everyone for being here today as we gather to remember September 11th, 2001. 24 years have passed, yet the memory of that day still remains with us. On that morning, the nation witnessed an unimaginable tragedy. Thousands of lives were lost, and among them were 343 firefighters who made the ultimate sacrifice. September 11th is not just a date in history, it is a reminder of why we put this uniform on, why we train, why we answer calls in the middle of the night, and why we commit ourselves to the service to the community we serve. Here in Melbourne, we are fortunate to have 8 fire stations. We have 153 firefighters. Each one of those stations represent not just a building and a truck and equipment, it represents the dedication, the courage, and the promise that when the community calls, we will answer. Whether it is a medical emergency, a house fire, a car accident, or even just a neighbor in need, our mission is to show up and serve. We cannot change what happened in New York, Washington, and Pennsylvania that day, but we can also choose how we live and how we serve in their memory. Every time we respond to a call with professionalism and compassion, every time we train and every time we support one another, we honor those who never came home that day. For us, honoring them is not just about looking back, it's about carrying on their legacy forward. It's about teaching the next generation of firefighters what this service truly means. To the families who lost the loved ones that day, we continue to hold you in our thoughts and our prayers. And to the community we serve here in Melbourne, thank you for trusting us, for supporting us, and to standing with us. Our commitment to you is that we will never forget and we will always be ready to answer the calls. So today as we reflect, let us do more than just remember. Let us rededicate ourselves to the work we do every single day. May we live with courage, integrity, and devotion. May we never forget their sacrifice. May we always honor them and serve the community well. I thank the veterans here, and thank you, and God bless everybody.
So I want to give another shout out real quick. You couldn't make it tonight for business, but that gift came from a donation from Rob Feltner, the county commissioner. So thank you, Rob. I know he would rather be here than in his meeting tonight. So with that, we still haven't seen the arrival of Sheriff Ivy yet. So I'm going to introduce Major Retired James Jim G. Cussick III. It's an honor to introduce Major Retired James Jim C. Cussick III, a decorated Air Force pararescueman and Special Tactics officer. Lifelong rescuer and a living embodiment of the courage and sacrifice we gather to remember. Jim's journey is a life-saving began as a child, inspired by a personal family rescue that set him on his path of service. His commitment to helping others led him for volunteering with the American Red Cross at age 13, to becoming a lifeguard, EMT, and eventually a pararescueman, PJ, in the United States Air Force. Over a distinguished 22-year military career, Jim trained and saved countless lives, serving in critical missions across the globe, from humanitarian relief in Africa to special operation deployments in Europe and in the United States. On September the 11th, 2001, while stationed at the Pentagon, Jim's training and bravery were called upon in the most profound way. As the world watched in horror, Jim led a team into the burning Pentagon, searching for survivors in the aftermath of the terrorist attack. Drawing on his pararescue expertise, he saved 3 lives that day, an act of heroism recognized with the American Red Cross Certificate of Merit. the Air Force Commendation Medal and the Boy Scouts Honor Medal with cross palms. Jim's story is not only one day, but about a lifetime of preparation, service, and selfless actions. His ongoing commitments to the Boy Scouts, the American Red Cross, to disaster response, and our own community reflects the spirits of resilience and unity that 9/11 represents. Whether instructing first aid, leading rescue teams, or mentoring the next generation, Jim Cussick continues to inspire by example. As we honor the memory of those lost in the heroism shown on September the 11th, we're privileged to welcome Major Retired Jim Cussick, a man whose life work embodies the best service, sacrifice, and hope of our nation and our community. Please join me in welcoming Major Retired Jim Cussick.
Just a little bit of rearranging there. There we go. Okay, so, good evening, thanks for being here. I'm wearing my uniform tonight for a couple of reasons. Number one, because it's an honor for me to be here to speak with you, but I'm also here as an honor for my veteran friends out there. I'm also wearing this for the folks that passed away on September 11th, and then my co-workers who then perished in the war after that. I can coordinate this. That's me. I'm a Pentagon survivor. Are there any other folks in the audience that were involved in September 11th? I met a firefighter already.
Butch.
There's one there.
Way in the back, Butch.
Thank you for your service. I want to talk about three things tonight, and make it short. The events that happened at the Pentagon, my background, which you pretty much got already, and then my actions that particular day. So I want to put this in perspective. No, that's not it. I'm very blessed to be here today. I was unhurt. And then I believe that God had a plan for me that particular day and to keep me safe. Now, a lot of bad things happened that day, and people say, well, how could your God, allow that to happen? And my response to that is that every time I speak, and I'm sure it's going to happen tonight, people will tell me that they know someone who overslept, missed the bus, missed the train. God was very busy that day keeping people home, keeping them away from harm's way. So a couple of things that happened that particular day that I want to talk to. The Pentagon was built in 1943. It was built of concrete and wood. Now, that's maybe not so significant, but what makes that significant is the fire burned up in the attic for much longer than normal. You firefighters, you would know all that kind of stuff. By the way, my daughter is a firefighter paramedic, so a family history of firefighting. Not me, of course, but them. Okay, so that was important to know there. Now, we did lose some people in the Pentagon from that particular flight, and 125 total, 59 from the actual flight, and it could have been worse. Could have lost a lot more people. Well, how could it have been worse? Well, number one, this is the Pentagon before, and on the left-hand side, let's see if my pointer's going to work. Right there, that's the helicopter pad. There's an air traffic control facility. The plane hit right there. This is where it hit. By the way, some of these photos that I am showing you are official photos that were taken by the official photographers there at the Pentagon. The impact there, you can see where the roof is on fire, still burning there. And I'll point out a couple more things as we go through here.
So this is the direction the plane came. Anybody that's familiar with the Navy Annex that's on top of the hill, it's not there anymore. It's now replaced by the Air Force Memorial. I was fortunate to be on the honor flight with some of you folks this past week, and I got some updated pictures we'll show later. But the aircraft came in from that direction and actually hit wires, which caused the wing to tilt down, and that aircraft hit at ground level. Again, what would happen if it had gone over top? A lot more destruction. Also, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Secretary of Defense Rumsfeld, they work on that side. Okay? So again, we're very fortunate that that happened the way it did. Now, right there at that point, on the right-hand side, you will see that it looks pretty good, but that's the right side was just redone. They did some construction to bring it up to date. The left side, so there was nobody in there. The left side, people had already moved out, not the furniture, but they moved out, so the death toll could have been much worse. Okay. Again, this is the day after. You can see right here where they started shoring up the bottom so that they could start working and get inside and see what was going on. Now, I'm going to talk about this fire truck right there in just a little bit. Now, again, I said it could have been worse because we don't know where Flight 93, the one that crashed in Pennsylvania, where it was actually headed. Some people will say, well, it was headed for the White House, but if you've ever flown in that area, well, not that you can fly there, you can't see the White House because of all the trees that are around it. So maybe, and I'm just speculating here, the plane could have been headed for the Pentagon. It could have been the Senate. We don't know. But those souls that were lost saved more people than just themselves. Now, there's lots of sad things, but the one sad thing that I found from the Pentagon was on the Flight 77 that was headed to Los Angeles, there was a school group that had done some good things, and they were going to go to California to be in some competition. I forgot what it was. But one of the Army officers from the Pentagon put his son on that plane. And he wasn't back to work yet when the plane hit, and he lost all of his coworkers, so he had a double tragedy that day. That's the worst case that I've heard of. And that's the last one there. Okay. So now you want to know about me. Okay. So as you heard, I did motivated to learn how to help people at an early age, and went into the Air Force as a PJ, pararescueman as a PJ, and I've been teaching people first aid skills for a very long time. And I also teach them not to run into burning buildings. Unfortunately, fortunately, that's exactly what I do. And why is because that's what I'm made of. That's my genetics. But it's also what I was taught and what I was learned in the pararescue career field. Their motto is that others may live. Now, I got a few scouts over here, adult leaders and an A Scout, and this is just for you. They know me as Mr. PJ. They don't know what Mr. PJ really did until tonight. Now, my actions that particular day, I work in a vault. So people will say, hey, well, did you hear the explosion? No, I didn't. What we saw on the TV, like most of you are watching the New York affairs. Now, also remember that when you were watching the TV, all you saw really was New York. You didn't see a whole lot about the Pentagon, okay? Don't ask me why, I do not know. There's a conspiracy theory that, well, it wasn't really an airplane, it was a bomb. Because the video that they had on the corner of the Pentagon does show something hitting it, but it's a time lapse, so you don't really get to see that it's actually an airplane. Well, there was plenty of eyewitnesses on the ground, and I will show you a piece of the engine cowling here in a little bit to let you know that that really happened. Okay, so we were in the work in a vault. We work for the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and whatever he wants, we take care of. Nothing came down our way, and then the next thing we know is we got black smoke coming through the air conditioning system. So, putting on my Red Cross hat, we did shelter in place with the plastic bag up there. We sat around some more, and finally we decided to get out of there. And I ran right into the triage area, and I just went into automatic gear, because that's what we do as a PJ. We practice triage all the time, so it was just automatic for me to do that. We loaded. Now this is not pictures of me. What is that? Oh, okay. So remember I told you about the fire truck? Well, next to the fire truck was a car, the air traffic controller. This is some of those stories you don't know about, but they're out there. The lady that owned that car went into the building for a break. Fortunately, she was inside when the plane hit. And that's one picture of it, and here's the other one. So, hey, lose a car, that's a lot better than losing my life. Okay. That fire truck over there, as I mentioned before, the firefighter goes with that vehicle. They're out there because there's a helicopter pad, and that's all the important people show up on a helicopter pad. He was outside, saw the plane coming, and jumped up underneath the fire truck and saved his life. Unfortunately, the fire truck was a total loss. Okay, so these pictures here are from the Pentagon, but the opposite side that I was on. Okay, so what we did is we took care of 125 people. We put them in ambulances and fire trucks and limousines and station wagons, whatever we could do to get them to the hospital. Okay, and there was even a bunch of helicopters that we used for medevac. Now this particular picture shows the ambulances are staged for anybody else that might come out. Unfortunately, nobody else did. We did actually have, in the cloverleaf right there, we did have the helicopters land, and the military helicopters also came over. So here I am in the Pentagon. After all the folks have been rescued and sent away, some guy with a bullhorn starts yelling, "Hey, I want some volunteers to go back in the Pentagon." Sure, you know, that's just kind of the guy I am. And he says, "I want 4 lines of 20 people." So I get in line. And then he says, "I want a medic in the front." I look up my row. Nobody's raising their hand. I went to the front of my line. And he points at me and says, "Lead them in." So I led 80 of us back into the building. Now, as you know, I was credited with saving 3 lives, and that particular gentleman turned out to be the Air Force Surgeon General. He was the head medic. So pretty amazing. All right, now, when we got inside, unfortunately, we weren't able to do what we wanted to do because that plane that hit the Pentagon was fully loaded with fuel and the fire was intense. The firefighters actually came through, there's a tunnel, and they came through the tunnel, but it wasn't the fighting equipment that maybe you wanted because the tunnel was short. Remember, it was built in 1943. So we had some shorter pumper trucks that came in. And the firefighters, both male and female, you're correct there, they went into the building fighting the fire, and they had to come out. They couldn't get very far, and they were soaked. It was Florida in Maryland. You know, lots of humidity, lots of heat. So once we decided we couldn't go in to do what we wanted to, because it wasn't safe, we then made a triage area inside the Pentagon. Now, some of you may have heard this before, but the Russians always thought that the courtyard, there was a little building in the middle, they thought that was the entrance to the bunker. Okay, it's really not, okay? But don't tell your friends. So, what we ended up doing was somebody got smart and went to the vending machines and broke them open and took out the plastic bottles that had soda in them and filled them back up with water. So we were then servicing the firemen and women by giving them cold water, Gatorade, and pouring water all over them, because they were toast. Go backwards. Yep. Good. Okay, let's go this way. All right, here's that piece of engine cowling that I was telling you about. Okay, so it really happened. Now, I want to show a couple things. When they rebuilt the Pentagon, they did it very quickly, and the Marine Corps Marathon was done like the following month, and they went right by the Pentagon. And we had a lot of great pictures there in one of my books. I got a book back there somewhere with some of these pictures. Okay, so the air traffic control tower is right there, and then this is the helipad. So now, what they have done on this side of the Pentagon is all of these trees were planted, one for each person we lost, and there's a bench. And each bench is there, and the ones that were on the plane are facing one way, and the ones that were in the Pentagon are facing the other way. I couldn't get a good picture, by the way. This is a picture from this weekend, since I was there. And you can see the tower is now over there, and this part of the building is a big green lawn, and that's where they're landing the helicopters. That's actually closer to the important people anyway. So now I also noticed that because of the terrorist attack, that we now have this big fence right there. Okay, and these pictures were taken from the Air Force Memorial on top. Okay, and I think this one, last one here, this came up when they started their construction. President Bush came by a few times, and this kind of motivated everybody and got us on the right track. If you've ever worked at the Pentagon, a lot of people just walk around like this. You must know that. After this, everybody's head was up. How you doing? They're smiling. Are you okay? Very, very, very different atmosphere. And that's about all I got for tonight. I do want to echo some of the comments the fire chief made over there about getting out there and helping other people. When I did this after September 11th, I would tell people, volunteer, do something to help other people. And that still echoes, okay? Thank you for your time, and God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand. James Gossett. Thank you. Our next guest, Sheriff Wayne Ivey, has dedicated over 40 decades to public safety and law enforcement, serving as sheriff of Brevard County, Florida since 2013. A lifelong Floridian, Sheriff Ivey began his career in 1980 as a corrections officer and quickly advanced through the ranks, holding positions as deputy, detective, ultimately resident agent in charge for the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, FDLE. Sheriff Ivey is a graduate of the FBI National Academy 237th section and holds a bachelor's degree in supervision and management from Daytona State College. His extensive background includes leadership in criminal investigations, narcotics, patrol services, public integrity investigations, and corrections. He is recognized for developing innovation programs such as the Child Abduction Response Team and the Law Enforcement Getting Identity Thieves Initiative, both of which have become national models in their respective fields. On the solemn occasion as we gather and honor the memory of those lost on September 11, 2001, and to recognize the enduring spirit of our nation's heroes, Sheriff Ivey's perseverance is especially meaningful. Throughout the career, Sheriff Ivey has exemplified the values of courage, resilience, and unwavering dedication to protecting our communities. Values that resonate deeply within the legacy of 9/11 and the mission of disabled American veterans. Sheriff Ivey has been a steadfast supporter of first responders, veterans, and their families, understanding the sacrifices made in the name of freedom and security. Under his leadership, the Brevard County Sheriff's Office has prioritized emergency preparedness, community engagement, and public education, ensuring that the lessons of 9/11 continue to inspire vigilance, unity, and compassion. Sheriff Ivey's commitment to excellence has served him numerous awards, including the FDLE Special Agent of the Year, the National Rifle Association Defender of the Freedom Award, recognition from the Florida Crime Prevention Association, oversees one of Florida's largest law enforcement agencies, serving a diverse and dynamic community, that includes the Space Coast, Port Canaveral, and over 644,000 residents. As we reflect on the significance of 9/11 and honor the service of veterans, first responders, and community leaders, Sheriff Ivey stands as a distinguished example of public service and leadership. His dedication to safeguarding our freedoms and supporting those who serve make him a valued guest for this special remembrance event. Please welcome Sheriff Wayne Ivey. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much, and I apologize for running a little bit late, but it kind of set the stage for what I'm going to talk about, because as I was driving down, I was thinking to myself, man, this has been a heck of a day. A lot been going on around the state and around the country. And I paused for a minute and I thought, this has been a heck of a day, but it was nothing like 9/11. It was nothing like the impact 9/11 had on us, and not just the impact that day, but the impact for months after and years after and decades after. In fact, it was an impact that will forever be profound on our country. I was thinking about the law enforcement officers, the firefighters, those that lost their lives, the veterans that not only volunteered to go in and do the things that they did to help find those that were taken from us that day, but the veterans that went over and protected us, veterans that went over and fought for us and left their families behind and made that commitment to go do the things that they did. That's a heck of a day. What we face each and every day is nothing compared to that. I guarantee if I asked you to raise your hand, how many of you remember exactly where you were when you found out what happened? For me, I was still working for FDLE. My office to my squad was across the hall. I had to go over and get something from our executive assistant, and as I walked in, our entire team was down at the far end of the squad bay looking at TV. And I jokingly yelled at them, "Oh yeah, let's watch TV. Let's not do any work today." And then they turned around and I saw the look on their face. I saw the horror, the pain, the hurt. It was the first time I knew what had happened. I went down and submerged myself in the same thing that they were doing and watched as it all unfolded. And then things at the local level kicked into gear, making sure that if that attack extended out, that our local resources, our local buildings, our local facilities were protected. And so for that brief moment in time, we were captivated by what was happening there, but then we had to go to work. And that lasted for days and days and days, and those of us here on the Space Coast remember exactly what it was like, especially over on A1A. But what sticks with me today is that's never changed for us. That impact hits us just as hard today as it did on 9/11. And I tell everyone, our job is to remember that. Our job is to make sure that we remember how painful that was, how that intrusiveness on our country, on our nation, sparked and fired something in us. And one thing about America that I will say is probably the thing I'm most proud of, and I am a proud American, I am proud of this country. But the thing I'm most proud of is that sometimes we mess with each other, and we have our differences, political or otherwise, but nobody messes with us. We stand together shoulder to shoulder, no matter where we come from, what we believe, or anything of that nature. And we make those that mess with us pay. And that's what our veterans did. Our veterans took it to them. And while we were back home protecting what we thought we were protecting, our buildings and our everyday lives, our veterans were putting their lives on the line to save all of us, to protect not only our nation, but other nations from the same impact. So I look at my job today, not just being sheriff, but my job as an American, is to remember that pain that I felt that day, to remember how that impacted us, how it forever changed our life, and then to make sure that every generation after us has an idea of what that was like. And while our younger generation will never feel that pinch that we felt that day when we watched it unfold, it's important for us to never let them forget the sacrifices that were made, the heroics, the patriotism, the every single passionate moment, every single blood, sweat, and tear that went into saving lives and saving our country. That's our job as Americans today. Our veterans did their job, our first responders did their job. Now it's our turn to make sure we do our jobs. So when I walked into this room and I saw each of you sitting here and the crowd that had gathered, I was warmed. I was just looking at it going, this group didn't forget. This group's here to remember and to carry it on. And I tell you and everyone else, tomorrow, when you wake up, hit your knees. Thank God that you live in the United States of America. Thank God that you live in a country where you can have an opinion. Thank God you live in a country where you can voice your opinion, and that you live in a country that will fight back, not be pushed around, and is going to stand strong for you and all of those you love. So to our first responders, those that we lost, those that are still first responders, all of them that are here today, to our veterans, those that have retired, those that are still active duty, I hope you know how much I love you. I hope you know how much this country loves you and how much Brevard County loves you. I can tell you as a first responder, one of the things that I've become very patterned in saying is that we serve in Brevard County where our citizens love us, trust us, and protect us just as much as we love, trust, and protect them. And that's what this country is all about. So I appreciate you being here. I appreciate you lifting up in prayer the families of those that were lost, those that were impacted. And I appreciate everybody here for how much they love this great country we live in. So thank you, everybody. God bless. Take care.
Give it up, please stand. Sheriff Wayne Howard, please stand. Okay, so as we start to wrap things up tonight, I want you to please remember and thank all of our sponsors when visiting their businesses. Their support makes this event possible and sustains our support and services for veterans. I just want to go through real quick, Serrato's Italian Deli, Burger Inn, Doghouse Pizza, Grilled Seafood, Sonny's Barbecue, Indian River Smokehouse, Coastal Mobile, Detail and Tinning, 321 Boat Rentals, Fresh Market, Unison Spa, forgive me, Smoky Bones, Frog Bones Family Shooting Center, big time sponsor with us, thank you. Double Tap Grill, Bunker 27, Climate Experts Air, Plumbing, Electricity, Indian River Coffee, Southern Caramel, Beacon Roof and Exterior Cleaning, also just done another pressure wash of our facility today, or yesterday actually. Leaning Tower Pizza, Hidden Arsenal Furniture, Collins Aerospace Volunteers. Do we still have Collins Aerospace Volunteers here? Yeah. Please stand, please stand. Thank you, Collins Air Force. Carmen's Restaurant, Grumpy's Biscuit, New York Pizza Spot and Italian Kitchen, Mr. 01 Extraordinary Pizza, Slice of Pizza and Italian Kitchen. Our next general membership meeting on October 8th will be on October 8th, 2025. I'm getting a little tongue-tied. Thank you to everyone, especially our heroes, for attending tonight. And since we don't have a chaplain to ending, I'm going to say, may God bless you, may God bless our first responders, may God bless our veterans, and may God bless this United States of America. Stay tuned for our next special event.